So our guest speaker today is Martha Loukotka, and she is a behavioral analyst with over 25 years of experience serving individuals and their families. Martha graduated from Eastern Michigan University with a master's degree in science with a concentration on behavioral psychology. She has extensive experience with assisting those who are impacted with autism, intellectual disabilities, ADHD, among other diagnoses. Martha is currently working at the Horizon School, which is what we're going to learn about today, and she assists adults aged 18 to 26 to transition so that they can live as independently as they are able. Beautiful work, Martha. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to share your resources and your insight and your wisdom with us today. Before Martha gets started, if you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to enter those questions into the chat. We will get to those as they come up. And of course, if you're like me, if you don't write it down, you forget. So just go ahead and put it in that chat so we can address it as they come up, okay? So without further ado, Martha, thank you so much again. And the floor is yours.
Hey there, how's everybody doing? Good? Thumbs up?
Good, yes.
All right, awesome. So today we're going to be talking about getting your student ready for a post-secondary education program. We hear a lot of people say, what's after high school? And we like to fill that gap a little bit for our students so that they have a meaningful way to really get ready for adulthood. Independence is what we are striving for. So they are really working towards being an independent adult, and then we provide all that training for them. So we are going to be talking about independence and what your student needs to be successful in this type of program. Of course, there's many inclusive higher education programs within the state, South Alabama, of course, Alabama, Auburn, and I believe Jack State, although I can't remember if they've decided to continue theirs or not. In any case, you have several options, and we are the Horizon School. We are an independent nonprofit. We are not connected to a university, but we also are very active with a lot of UAB individuals, especially the School of Public Health. And OTs come on campus every week to help us out with a lot of our training goals. So as you can see here, we need a lot of different skills to be successful in this area. A good morning and nighttime routine is essential, as well as learning time management, organizational, self-care, home living, social and financial skills. We also focus on self-advocacy and community and safety skills. I do want to point out that your child does not need to know all of these things to be enrolled in our program, but it is a good idea to start the exposure process now so that they are at least familiar with some of the terms, some of the concepts, so that when they get here, it's not all brand new to them. Today, we're going to be identifying skills across clusters and explaining the need for these independent skills, and I'll also provide a checklist. So we all know that transition to adulthood is hard and complex, and that's just for a neurotypical individual. So imagine the complexities that come with an ASD student becoming an adult. So we try to focus on the individual as a whole rather than just little small individual pieces. So we focus on independent living skills, career skills, social skills, and financial skills to help give them the best abilities to be able to be independent. Of course, as your child gets close to the age of transitioning, you have many questions to consider. You may want to consult a lawyer for financial decisions or guardianships. Again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not going to do that, but something to consider. Social cognition or deficits are and executive functioning contributes to the barriers of those individuals with ASD successfully transitioning to adulthood. And we have that as an integral part of our program to help them gain the skills that they need. So, like Jenny was saying, I have over 25 years, rounding up on 30 now, working with individuals on the spectrum. And some of these strategies that we'll talk about today, which are based in behavior analysis, really help your student be ready for that next step, which is adulthood. This is a little bit of information about applied behavior analysis and behavior analysis. I have presented this in a more formal setting. Oops, sorry. I was just trying to go along a little bit. But for our purposes today, it's just a way of helping your student learn the skills so that they can be successful. So let's start at the beginning, right? Because that's always a great place to start. The importance of teaching routines and having a daily structure. I have a lot of parents tell me throughout my many years that, oh, well, we don't have a daily structure. We don't have a routine. We just kind of go along and live life as it comes. For the neurotypical person, they can probably manage that, but especially individuals on that autism spectrum, they need a routine, they need structure, they need to know what's happening next. A lot of you are very familiar with those first then boards or visual schedules, and those can be really useful tools to help them out. Before your children can learn to fly, you have to give them a great foundation. And the best area to start with that foundation is the morning and evening routines. I don't know about you guys, but I have a pretty good morning routine. I get up, I make coffee, I feed my dog, I turn on the news. You know, all of those things are pretty standard things. So when the students have that structure and that routine, they can more easily navigate independently throughout that morning routine to help them feel more pride in being accomplished. So let's talk about this morning routine for a little bit. Some students are going to need different things, right? Because we're all individuals. So you have to identify the things that they need help with. Do they need help with brushing their teeth, washing their face, brushing their hair, putting on deodorant? Do they remember breakfast, getting dressed, medications? It is all a very individualized thing for everybody every morning. So the first thing we need to do is identify where the student needs assistance. If you find yourself constantly reminding somebody of somebody, then probably they need that checklist or that visual schedule or whatever it is that's going to be meaningful for them to help them get the things done that they need to before they leave the house. You need independence to be meaningful for them. So, for example, they aren't going to do these things if they think, well, you know, I'm just going to live here forever and mom will always do it for me. So why bother, right? You need to give them some incentives. Sometimes we have internal incentives. I don't know about any of you parents, but me as a 19-year-old, I was ready to fly the coop. So I had a lot of internal motivation there. Our students probably don't. So you need to start with an external motivator. Say they get a pizza on Friday when they complete the morning routine 4 out of 5 days that week. Don't ever expect perfection. I know I've never achieved perfection and I can't expect it from any of my students. So here's an example of a sample checklist of things that they might need on that morning routine. And I always include some of that favorite thing that they have or what they're working for on their checklist. For me, it's chocolate. I love chocolate. It's very motivating for me. I keep emergency chocolate in my desk, and sometimes I really need that throughout the day. But another pro tip is to ask them what they think they need to do to be ready to leave the house in the morning. They will be more engaged when they have a voice. So again, we're starting to introduce some of those self-advocacy skills just by asking them, what do you need help with to get ready to leave out of the house in the morning? Then let's talk about that bedtime routine. Why is it essential? Because sleep is essential. I don't know about you guys, but when I don't get a good night's sleep, I'm cranky, I'm not as productive, I'm not at my best. So we can't expect our students to be at their best when they're not having a good sleep routine either. And we all know that sleep disturbance is a part of that ASD and ADHD diagnosis. So this is an area to really focus on. I give a sample routine here. I've got Sleeping Beauty up at the top. You know, I've got a princess girl that really will dig this. You again want to use something that your child or your student wants to be interested in, so that it will help them be more engaged. And again, eliciting their input on this routine helps them to be more engaged. So I just want to take a break for a second and say, you guys are doing wonderful. I know parenting is hard. I have two adult children myself, and sometimes we all get tired and it's all a struggle, but consistency will make a difference. So, keep going, keep at it. Don't beat yourself up because you guys are doing the best you can. Just want to put that little plug in there. So let's talk about time management for a second. Students with executive functioning issues, which is again a hallmark of the ASD and ADHD, ADD diagnoses, have difficulty with time management. So starting especially maybe in middle school or high school to help them learn some of these skills is going to really help them out with being successful later in life. The more we practice something, the more familiar it feels, the more successful we are, and the more likely that we are going to do the things we need to do. So it's important for them to start taking ownership of being on time for obligations. And again, as a mama bear, I get it. You want to look good. You want to make sure that they are doing the things that they need to do. But it is important for them to have that ability to say, I'm doing this. So we have a couple of little tips here. Have them use a phone or a watch or track time throughout so that they know what's needed. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna sneeze at some point, I promise. All these allergies are getting to me. So get them knowing what they need to do and when they need to manage their time. So for example, you need to be here and ready and grabbing your backpack by 7:25 because your bus comes at 7:30 and we need to walk out the door and walk down two houses to catch the bus or whatever it is. And identify important parts of their schedules so that they can start being more aware and taking more ownership of that time management. Using a daily, weekly, monthly calendar system, print or electronic, always is helpful. Personally, I'm a very visual person as well, so I like to see things on actual paper. I do have electronic schedule and calendar as well, as many of you I'm sure do. but I also like to see it on that piece of paper as well. So whatever your student needs, whatever learning style your student has, play into those strengths. That's really important. Have them set alarms or reminders to help them to get to where they need to be. And of course, we don't want them to be late. So we will just gradually fade our prompting, verbal, physical, whatever it may be, to help them increase their independence in this critical area. Did I have any questions, or how you guys doing at this point? You good? I can't hear you, Jenny.
It's Friday.
It is Friday. Yay.
My brain didn't show up to work with me today. I was just going to say this is very helpful information for me. I have 5 children, and all 5 of them have ADHD, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
kind of like herding cats sometimes,
Yes.
trying to get them to do everything. So I'm actually learning a lot from this as well. So I'm really enjoying this. Thank you so much.
Fabulous. All right, then I will move on. Along with time management, organizational skills are usually in the 0 to null category, right, for a lot of our kids. So we have to teach them these skills. Your student may always be asking, where's my backpack? Where's this? Where's that? So if we teach them some organizational skills, they are more likely to know exactly where those items are um, on a daily basis. So have a defined space. They're easier to locate, have a hook, etc. Make sure they're using the right tools, purse, wallet, etc., to carry personal items. Having the tools might not be enough. Make sure they are keeping things organized. As any parent will ever tell you, once you get them organized for that new school year and everything's all nice and neat and tidy, yeah, by Halloween, that backpack is a mess. So, revisiting it and helping them learn how to keep these things neat and organized is also going to be a requirement, especially until they learn those skills for themselves, which might take a significant amount of time, especially since we already have a deficit, neurological deficit that doesn't prioritize this. So you need to help keep learning or help them keep learning these skills. Um, sometimes you need to try a couple of different techniques. What's working for me is not going to work for you. Jenny, you said you have 5 kids. You might need a different strategy for each kid. Just because everybody is so individualized and everybody has a different learning style, different needs. So sometimes don't feel like you failed because this one way doesn't work. You just need to find the way that works for them. And it's frustrating. I get that. But trust me, you'll find a way. Self-care skills are very important because mama's not going to be there in a post-secondary education program. They need to be able to take care of themselves. They need to be able to identify what their needs are. They need to be able to say, "Ooh, I'm hungry. I need to eat," right? Or, "Ooh, it's 12 o'clock. I need to have something," even if I'm not hungry because my ADHD meds are blocking that hunger thing, right? So beyond showering with soap, brushing our teeth, they also need to know how to use deodorant, drink enough water through the day, take care of their body with exercise, medication. That's all part of that holistic program where we need to be the best we can be. And to do that, we first have to take care of our physical body. Eating well. Do they know how you plan meals, right? What is a balanced meal? when they are young is the time to start talking about it. Also maybe have them plan a meal, have them come to the grocery store, pick out those items and cook the meal with you. That helps them be engaged. And again, the more they feel that they're a part of the process, the more they're going to engage. I used to give my kids a choice of vegetable at dinner. So at night, I'd say, I'm making some grilled chicken. Do you guys want either peas or carrots? I really don't care if they eat peas or carrots as long as they eat one of them, right? So giving them that choice, that structured choice, is also a great way for them to increase their nutritional value, but still giving them a choice in the matter. They also need to know about their medical needs. They need to know their diagnosis, how it affects them, and what precautions they need to take, what things they need to do to help them be the best that they can be. Do they understand what illness symptoms are? Do they know what a fever is? Do they know what just a simple cold is? All of these things are really important for them to be able to identify because we have, the Horizons program specifically, I can't speak for other ones. We have RAs on staff, they're not going to be coming up to your student every morning. Oh, do you feel, oh yeah, you look a little whatever, right? They need to be able to seek out that RA and say, you know what, I'm not feeling good. I think I'm kind of warm. I feel a little flush. They need to be able to tell us some of those symptoms. Here is an example of some of those home living tasks and taking care of our space that we as adults do. But they're kind of done in the background a lot of times, and the children or the students don't really recognize the fact that all of this has to be done to maintain a household. So giving your children chores, even as early as 5 to 8, simple tasks. They may not be cleaning to your standards, but they need to start being involved. Dusting, cleaning a sink, having them see how you clean a toilet, all of these things. Laundry is really important. Oh, this is a dark, this is a light, ooh, this is a delicate. Just so that they have some experience and some exposure to all of these things, it's really important. All right, social skills. This is a really big area. And again, every student is so different. Some people are social butterflies and would rather do things with other people than do things on their own. They don't want to go anywhere without a friend, right? Other people are, I prefer to just, hang out in my room, do what I want to do, and socializing is not a priority to me. But we know that we have to be able to socialize and communicate to be a part of the world. And part of it is being a individual who knows when to be social and maybe when to hang back. For our social butterflies, we have to encourage sometimes to do things on your own. Whereas the isolated individual, maybe we have to encourage them to actually socialize. So it all depends, but we help them out with whatever their level is. And again, starting now, getting them to recognize that maybe their best friend doesn't want them with them 100% of the time, or that they have to socialize maybe once a week or once a month, whatever it is, to just at least start the process. And again, it's a journey, not a destination, and we understand that everybody has different needs, and we're ready to help them out where they're at. Finance skills. This is really important. And one of the things that I like best about the Horizon School program is that, in contrary to some of the other programs that we have available in the state, where they have a finance lab or something of that sort, where they do simulated exercises on dealing with finances, our students actually manage a bank account, pay rent, pay utilities, manage a budget, go grocery shopping, all of these things. Now, of course, it has extensive oversight, right? But we help them learn all of these skills so that they can truly be an independent adult. We do ask that individuals that come to our program have an IQ of at least 65 or so. And that's mainly for this portion of the program because they have to understand what money is, how it's being used, and some of those basic math skills to be able to be successful in this area. But of course, we know that it's a critical area, especially with all the scams going around right now. We do have a um, computer literacy or social media literacy course that we just invented within the last year with help of disability rights that we've been presenting to different schools on how to keep your students safe online. And that's another program that you guys might be interested in. Dr. Geiger heads that one up. But again, it is really important to have those financial skills, and we help them learn those skills. Self-advocacy. This is extremely important. Nobody else is going to be there to advocate for you. You have to learn to advocate for yourself. If your student tells you about an issue, or you're always helping them problem solve, find ways that they can advocate for themselves rather than you doing it for them. So in our case scenario, say they are in the apartment and their roommate never cleans their dishes. Well, have you talked to your roommate yet? No. Why don't you try talking to your roommate, and helping them come up with these skills rather than doing it for them. So you really have to help them learn these skills, speaking up for themselves, knowing their rights. That's another part that we really work on. Finding support, problem solving, self-determination, and even asking for help. Asking for help is hard. It is a really complex skill. A lot of embarrassment or shame can be involved in that. Well, I should be able to do this for myself. No, honey, everybody needs help. Everybody needs assistance here and there. So really helping them realize that they are able to advocate for themselves is very important. Community access. We cannot be independent if we can't access the community and do things on our own, right? We have to know how to get to that grocery store, get to our work site, do things that we enjoy doing, whether it's having a cup of coffee around the corner with a friend or going out for a meal or shopping, whatever. So we teach our students how to navigate on their own in the community. Of course, we never put them out on day one, right? We have checklists. We have a whole way of teaching them how to use the bus system, how to use navigating skills to walk around our community. We teach them where they need to go and how they need to shop and have fun and all of these things. Obviously, we start with downtown Birmingham, which is where we're located. We're right in the Five Points area. And ensure that they can walk safely in this area. That means going with the traffic lights, right? We have to make sure that we're crossing the street at the correct time, that we're observing what's going on around us. Sometimes those cars are crazy, right? And they don't follow the traffic lights. So if my student says, oh, I've got a green light and just starts crossing, they might still get in trouble because they didn't see this guy coming down the hill really fast. So we teach them all of these important skills, as well as a very critical skill of our face is not in our phone when we're navigating, right? It's hard to observe what's going on if you have your face in the phone. So we teach our students that when they're walking, when they're navigating, unless they're looking to see where the bus is, oh, the bus will be here in 5 minutes. Okay, great. And then we put it in our pocket, put it in our backpack, whatever it is, so that we can focus on what's going around us rather than that phone. We discuss the buses, teach them skills to navigate to essential areas. Target is always a fun place to go. Other shopping areas, the Summit down 280 is a really easy bus ride, so is downtown Homewood, as well as going to the movies. The kids need to have fun every once in a while. All right, let's talk about safety for a minute. We are downtown Birmingham, and I understand that raises alarm bells for some people. We are a part of a community program. I forget what all the letters stand for, but it's called CAPS. And they are citizens on patrol, and they monitor the safety of our neighborhood. They're on bike, they're walking, they're in the car. We have a CAP officer come here and check on us every day. How are things going? Are you guys having any issues? Nope, we're awesome. Thanks. So safety is very important to us. Does your student know that they need to ask before opening a door? This is again some basic things. Do they know they're supposed to keep their doors locked? Now, I don't expect 100%. I'm still telling students when I'm walking around the apartments and I see somebody walk out and just start heading down the hallway, where's your keys? Are your doors locked? So this is something that they need to start thinking about. Do they know what an emergency is? Do they know what to do during an emergency? Could they call 911? Can they explain what's going on? All of these are very important things. Our RAs do monthly drills of fire drill, extreme weather drill, etc., to make sure they know what to do and to stay safe. Of course, basic first aid. Do they know when they're dying and when it's just a little scratch? It can sometimes be very difficult to distinguish, especially if your pain receptors aren't the same as normal people. So teaching them about basic first aid, online safety, and I've talked about that online safety program that we're doing with Dr. Geiger and Disability Rights. What can you do now? Start talking to them about these things. Obviously, they need to know their phone number and their address, and we help them with that the first couple of weeks here because, when you move, learning that new address and phone number can sometimes be hard, but we do help them out through all of these different areas. All right. Again, I've been talking a lot, but you guys are doing amazing. Remember to give yourself grace. Nobody's perfect, not even us parents. And, again, sometimes teaching the students how to learn from mistakes is very important. So just keep moving forward. You got this, and, we're here to help. All right, Jenny, I think what I'm gonna do is send you some of the electronic form of this independent living skills list so that you can distribute it. But this will just give you an idea of things that you need to teach the students. Well, not need to teach the students, but need to at least let them know that it's out there, right? I had a student come in for an assessment and had no concept about folding and putting away laundry. 20-year-old kid doesn't know anything about folding and putting away laundry because mama always did it. So here are some different things to do to help you along that goal. And again, I know it's a lot and we don't expect perfection. We just are really looking for progress. Just a little bit about our school and what we teach. We have 4 separate domains that we focus on with different areas under each domain. That personal independence, can they manage themselves and their time? Career independence. We have a fabulous career director who has I think he has almost 15 years experience in the field now. He is amazing and he has some really great community partners that help us out. But he helps your student identify where where to look, right? Because that's really important. What their interests are, what their abilities are, how to bring those two together, and how to get them into a job that is meaningful to them. We don't just say, oh, well, I have this janitorial job over here. You can just do that because not everybody's going to be interested in that. So he does a really great job at marrying abilities and interests and getting them into an area that they will enjoy going to work. Now, of course, we all know that you don't enjoy work 100% of the time, but at least it's an area of interest for them. Social independence. Again, we talked about the fact that social skills are one of the identified areas that the students need assistance in. So we help them by having a social skills class that's based on the Peers program. It's from Dr. Langdon out in California, and she has a specific program to help the students learn the skills to be able to communicate to their roommate, to classmates, to their boss, to their peers at work. All of these are really important skills. And then, of course, self-determination. We need to be able to guide our own life. That's really important. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to help them achieve whatever crazy goal they've got in their mind that might not be a good fit with reality and the abilities and all of that stuff. But say they want to be a veterinarian, which that's a lot of schooling, money, a bit, all of that. Well, how about if we start working out at a pet resort? You can play with the dogs. You can help with this, you can help with that. So really helping them determine the path of their life. And as you can see, there's a bunch of different things in there that self-advocacy, um, regulating yourself, flexibility, because sometimes, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my life certainly hasn't been exactly the way I planned it when I was 13. But you change, you adapt, and you can move forward. And talking about long-term and short-term goals, how do we go there? How do we achieve these things? So again, we really help the student in so many different areas that helps them be that successful adult. So this is our school. Again, like I mentioned, we are downtown Birmingham, just on the south side of 5 Point South. And we are 3 blocks away from the apartment building that we rent apartments out of, which is across from Chick-fil-A. And of course, if anybody's interested, here is some information to get a hold of me, and I'm more than happy to help you guys out with anything. Are there any questions now?
Well, I'll just go ahead and thank you for this information while everyone gathers their thoughts. It definitely got my juices flowing on researching a little bit more on how I can help my kiddos. I've got my youngest is 11 and my oldest is 20. Well, we'll be 20 this year. And
Yep.
you know, you said in the beginning that it takes time, right? And we shouldn't beat ourselves up because some of these skills they need to be kind of repeated over and over and over again. And so for me personally, that was really nice to hear. So thank you. Because sometimes you think, good grief, I've already told you this, right?
Right. I've already tried this. Why isn't it working?
Yeah, yeah. But thank you for that. With your expertise and everything, it made me feel a lot better about where I am with my kids.
Oh, good.
Yes. So does anyone have any questions for Martha or any comments? You can either add them into the chat or feel free to unmute.
I have a question. Sorry, I'm driving, so there may be some background noise.
You're very quiet, Crystal. We can't hardly hear you.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm driving. I had the maps on through Bluetooth. Is there an application process? And if so, what age does that start at? Just trying to
Sure.
see, like, maybe like how many people you're able to take in and help. If there's
Sure,
a way. I'm trying to remember.
absolutely. So after your junior year, probably the first step would be to come to our Rising Senior Open House, which I just had last week here. And that will give, in that open house, we give all of the information that you need for admission criteria, how to apply, when to apply, everything of that sort. Plus, you get a little tour of the school, you get to meet some other students, the teachers, and just really get an idea of if this might be a good fit for you. We do have a website, horizonschool.org, and it has some really great information on all of those questions. We don't open up enrollment. Like, for example, we will be opening up enrollment for the 26-27 or 25-26 school year in October. So starting October 1st is when you would start the application process for if your student were to try to enroll in that school year. And I do 6 or 7 open houses a year so that everybody has an opportunity to at least come and visit.
Okay, are there like admission fees or like what is the cost to the parent or the student?
Sure. So to apply, the application is done through a website called TADS, and they just charge $55, and that's the charge for an application. And then if you needed financial aid, again, there's a $55 fee, which is very reasonable. And we do have some wonderful donors, even though we're a private non-for-profit, we don't have governmental funds that support us. We do have some wonderful donors, and they are happy to help us out with financial aid for those students who need it. And I think your last question was, how many students do we help? I can accept up to 10 students per year. And we generally run around between 30 to 40 students in general between the first year, second year, which is the core program. We have a third year optional and then fee for service clients. So you've graduated the program, you're doing okay, but you still need a little help here and there. That's where that fee for service comes in.
Great questions, Crystal.
You're very welcome.
So let me ask you this. Let's say we had a student who was a rising senior,
Mhm.
And because I know you said the program is for 18 to 26-year-olds, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so they come to you after they've graduated high school?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes,
so if I had a student who graduated high school, they enrolled in your program, they would live on campus for, and you said the core program is 2 years, is that correct?
correct,
So
correct.
what does the time look like? So like if I were to say, hey, you're gonna go and live at this school, does it kind of do like semester breaks and stuff similar to like a college campus would?
Yes,
Okay.
so we enroll with our cohort in September after Labor Day. We have orientation and, getting you in and moved in and all of that. And then they have a week off for Thanksgiving. There's 3 weeks off at Christmas. We have a spring break. We also have between every term, and we have 3 terms. So we go through the summer. Our we graduate the beginning of August, and there's 3 weeks between each term to give them a little time to rest and recuperate because we work them hard.
Yeah. Good. Good to know.
And we get a chance to rest and recuperate because we work
Yes.
hard.
Wonderful. All right. Are there any more questions before we close today? Well, I think this is a beautiful program. I think it opens up a world of opportunity for our young people, especially people like me, where I've got so many trying to figure out what works for one person. It might be nice to kind of outsource some of that help to somebody who knows what they're
Yes,
doing.
absolutely. And you had mentioned you had a 20-year-old. It's not too late for them to apply either. The reason we have that age range, 18 to 26, is not everybody's ready at 18.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're not ready until they're 21, 22, 23 even. And then that way they have enough time to work on that program when they are ready and able to do that as well. And I think that's an important piece of information to get out there too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I know that firsthand. So thank you for
Yes.
that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much again, Martha. And your contact info is still on the screen. So if anyone needs to reach out to her, there's her contact info. And then I will be sending out the
Independent living
information
skills
that you wanted to
checklist.
send with me, and I'll send that out with
Mhm.
the post survey. So even if you don't want to participate in the post survey, but you do want those surveys from Martha or checklists from Martha, please put your email address in the chat, and I'll send you all of that in one email later on this afternoon. All right.
And please feel free to email me directly as well. I'm happy to talk to anybody about their personal circumstances.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that generous offer. I know you probably have a very busy schedule, so I appreciate you taking the time out for individuals. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So thank you again, Martha. Thank you everyone for showing up today. Take care of yourselves this weekend. Drink your water, take your naps, dance, whatever makes you happy. And I'll see
Thank
you
you so
all.
much.
Yes, I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.